Gavin, welcome to the MSUM Dragons Podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So this is the More Than a Game podcast, so we want to talk about some things that are a little bit more than just basketball. So one of the things that I know you're passionate about and you've posted a little bit about is some of the relationships that you've made through basketball, especially with this group, and some of the guys you knew and played with even before just now with the Dragons. So tell me a little bit about this team and kind of why you're so kind of close-knit and know each other so well.
Yeah. So obviously I think at Moorhead they do a great job of recruiting people who are like that. And like you were saying, I did play with Johnny Beninga, who is a senior. He just graduated. And so I just recently posted on my Instagram talking kind of about the lifelong friendship that I have with him because of basketball. And so I guess just kind of going off of why we are so close-knit, I think it's because we have a group of good guys. We all do like each other a lot. We get along. And one thing that I think really strengthens a lot of friendships is, hardships in sports because they teach you a lot. So that's one big thing. Ever since high school, so I played Johnny since my freshman year, and him graduating is a big deal to me just because it's been like 7 years of playing with him. And so I just kind of talked about in that Instagram post about him how basketball creates those lifelong friendships and how that is really how it works. And I live with these guys and we work out with these guys all the time. So just being with them all the time, they're great guys. And I'm hoping that kind of can show through a little bit, show how close we all are on the court, off the court.
How big of an impact did that kind of have on your decision to come here to MSUM?
So I played AAU with Bryce, and we played with Comets Lewis was the 17U team. So he knew of Moorhead a lot, and we've had a lot of Comets players who've came to NSIC schools, and I got recruited by, Walt and Coach Wick, who's at Duluth now, and Coach Tim Bergstrasser, and even Reaver I talked to. I knew Reaver because he played Comets, and Reaver's a big deal around here. So Apparently. So I guess with Bryce and then with the recruiting, we kind of knew we would come together as like a package deal almost. We knew that the other guys coming in were pretty good too with Simon and Jesse. And so I knew that Bryce was a great guy. I knew that the coaches were good people, and I was excited to kind of get after it here at MSUM.
And we've seen those relationships not just on the floor relate to chemistry, but we've also seen you guys do some really kind of goofy, fun stuff outside of the game day atmospheres, including the pillow fight, which is infamous. Yeah. Tell me about how that situation went down.
So, the pillow fight, it's all over now campus, which is just awesome, and slow-mo and everything. But so what happened there is, we were at the girls' game.
So they stop you for like, oh, that's the men's basketball guy, or that's the pillow fight guy.
It's either one of the two.
Or the pothole guy. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about the pothole too. But for the pillow fight, so the boys' team was at the Northern girls' game, I think, which was a little bit weird because we don't get to watch them a lot. But we were cheering them on, and then David came around, and he was asking who wanted to be in the pillow fight, and we all kind of shook our heads. No, we don't want to, go out half court and make ourselves use pillows, fight each other. But me and Bryce had talked prior. So Bryce, my roommate, the other point guard on the team, Bryce Ersfeld. We had talked before this because we'd watch people do the pillow fight, and we're like, God, it'd be so funny if we set something up, if we, stage something, or we did something funny. And so we had talked about, he hits me in the face and I just drop. And so we all said no. And then as David went, I kind of looked at Bryce and I was like, Bryce, should we do it? Like, we've talked about this before. We could do what we've planned. You could, I'd miss high, and then you hit me in the face, and I just drop, and we were both like, all right, we'll do it. So we didn't act like
you guys had conversations over this before this happened. Yeah. Like, before you even had the opportunity presented.
Yeah.
Like,
we just thought it would be hilarious.
Like, how do these hilarious things just pop into your head? Is it just opportunistic, or do you guys just sit around and scheme about goofy things?
I don't know. I think it's maybe just kind of the opportunity arises, but we are definitely very goofy people. Yeah. So, whatever thought kind of pops into our head, like somebody's doing a pillow fight. Me and Bryce look at each other. We're like, oh, we'd be so funny up there. We could totally be hilarious. And then when we had the opportunity, then we went in the locker room. We practiced it. The little pillows in the locker room.
That's funny.
He swung at me with the little red one, and then I practiced dropping on the ground, so we were ready for the big performance.
Was the bat flip intentional too?
No,
he did that on his own.
Yeah,
we'll put the video in the show notes for the episode. But so you swing high, he counters. Yeah, slow motion, see the cheek wiggle a little bit. You're down on the ground. He does the old I don't know,
AI
the AI
steps
step
over
over and then does the bat flip pillow toss and then high fives all the guys. And it was one of the most epic moments. It's a great GIF on our Giphy channel too, if you want to check that out. But you just seem to have so much fun, not just on the floor, but with this team, with your friends, and including the pothole video, which we mentioned just a moment ago. How did that thing happen?
So the pothole video is just, if you haven't seen that, that's on my Twitter. And basically, as the snow was melting and all the potholes around Moorhead, we had a giant one at the end of my driveway, which is actually there right now too. I just drove from it before this. But anyway, so I saw it, and me and Isaac, my roommate, so Isaac was a student manager, and we can talk about him a little bit too probably, but he's really good with photo editing, video editing. He does some music stuff. And so I kind of thought to him, I was like, Isaac, it'd be hilarious if I jumped in the puddle and just disappeared. Like my whole body went into the puddle, and I didn't really think it would look great. I was just kind of like, it might be funny. I know you're good at this stuff. He's like, yeah, we could try it. So I set up my phone on my car as like a tripod because I didn't really know, and I recorded, when I wasn't there. And then I recorded me walking over, and I just jumped in it up to like my ankles, and I got all wet. And then I was like, here you go, Isaac, I got to go to practice. Like, good luck with this. I hope it's funny. He's like, yeah, this might be funny. And then sure enough, like a couple hours later, he sends it to me, and I'm like, this is unreal. And he didn't think it was that good either.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, no, you can kind of see. And I was like, dude, that looks awesome. Like, how did you do that? And so my whole body disappears into a 20-foot pothole, but that's a good video too.
But what happened afterwards was the funny part, because then I think within a day, it had 250,000 views on Twitter.
Yeah, which is nuts.
It went nuts. What was that kind of post
Yeah,
for you?
I thought it would be funny. I didn't think it would get the traction that it did. And like a bunch of Instagram accounts reached out to me, and they're all like, hey, can we use your video? And a YouTube channel with like, I think 10 million subscribers was like, can I put this on my daily internet thing? I was like, sure. And then at this point, I'm like, well, maybe I could get paid, but then the NSIC stuff or the NCAA
name,
stuff.
image, and likeness is on its way, but we'll talk about that.
So then,
that's figured out.
But yeah, so that was crazy. That's like 1 million views on Instagram, like 300,000 on my Twitter now, and got a bunch of retweets, and people around campus, because I have this bright red jacket in the video.
For sure.
And that's definitely, I've actually, a couple other people have it too, but people notice me around campus when I have that on. I think came up to like 4 or 5 times probably. People are like, dude, how did you do that? Like, never met him before. Yeah. Like, it was a deep hole, man. Just jumped right in.
And everybody saw it. Like, everybody was talking about it. I think, when we talked about it once, you were talking about someone from Spain.
Yep. I have some relatives in Spain that were like, Gavin, I just saw you on the news. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, that you jumping in the pothole is just on the news in Spain. I was like, what?
That's nuts.
I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so you mentioned Isaac, who was the editor in that situation, the manager last year, your roommate, and comes to all the games, but he also helps the team out in a lot of different ways with graphic design, video. So all the stuff you see out on Twitter and Instagram, all those nice graphics,
game days, and
that's our guy Isaac. And so he's just, I don't know, I would consider him part of the team. But it's interesting how your entire household is part of the men's basketball team, even players, non-players, just helping create some exposure and some attention for what you guys are doing. I mean, what's it like to, where does that kind of creativity come from? Is it just you have that environment packaged into your household and it just bubbles out whenever you guys are bored?
Yeah, I don't
know. Where does that come from?
I think, so Isaac's always been a big sports guy, and he's always been interested in this. He's a graphic design major now, but I think because he's very involved and he's one of our good friends, so he always comes up with a lot of these ideas too, as like, maybe we're playing basketball, and then he thinks, this would be kind of a cool idea, and then because of the situation we're put in where, we have a lot of access to the gym or to those kind of things, or sometimes we're put in situations where we can do some creative things, and I think just kind of the people we are, I guess it just kind of happens sometimes. Like you said, maybe we're just bored, and like I said with Bryce, we're very weird, goofy people, so it's like, hey, this might be hilarious, let's see if we can figure it out, and then we put our heads together. And
well, and some things that we've heard you do as well with that group is music. So Isaac is apparently the rapper.
A little bit more.
And you are the...
More of the chorus, hook, singer guy.
You're the hook guy?
A little bit more. I've made a few songs. My sister is a very good singer.
Okay.
So I've made a few like things with her. And then I've also was in choir for 4 years. So a little bit of auto-tune here and there, and it doesn't sound too bad. So
yeah, auto-tune helps. So do you have like a stage name or anything? Or
right now it's just like lowercase g, Gavin. So it's like Gavin.
It's just like all lowercase Gavin, or lowercase g and capital A?
No, it's all lowercase. I think that's what it is. It might be capital G. But then Isaac is X Games.
Oh. Mm-hmm. See, I thought it would be like the bomb.
I've thought of
that's kind of
the G-bomb.
G-bomb.
Like BAUM, thought of that.
Yeah.
Lil G.
Lil G.
Lil G, that'd be cool. It's like Lil Dicky, but Lil G.
Yeah.
And then, so we're just kind of brainstorming. Obviously, we have the one song on Spotify that you heard at the Pentagon.
Tell us about that, because that was a surprise to everyone.
Yep. So we just had beat Winona, and I was showering, or not Upper Iowa, excuse me.
I got you.
Yeah, we just beat Upper Iowa, and I was showering up, and Bryce came sprinting in the locker room, and he goes, "Gavin, you got to come out right now, quick, quick, quick." I'm like, why? So I like hurried up quick and came out, and he's like, "Your song's on." Mm-hmm. And sure enough, over the loudspeaker at the Pentagon was "Why You So Cold" by Gavin and X Games. And I was like, no way. And so I thought it was initially, because Sioux Falls was warming up. I have a high school friend named Austin Slater, and he knew of it. So I thought he put it on.
Yeah.
But it was Isaac and Peyton and the girls' team, and they thought they were funny. So that was kind of cool. They played it like twice.
Yeah.
Because it's on Spotify. So
I just remember standing next to you for the interview, and you're like, "Is that my song?"
Yeah, it was weird.
What?
It was weird.
Yeah, it's got to be weird. Well, hopefully we'll hear some more of it, and maybe we'll play it at some of our games and stuff like that. Maybe we can look it up on Spotify and put it in the show notes too.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes to, kind of what we started with is these relationships that sports inherently creates. I don't understand why. I do a little bit of why the bonds go so much deeper with people you've worked out with, sweated with, cried with, fought with. Mm-hmm. All of those things kind of create an experience, create relationships, create memories, 10x than not being on a team. Mm-hmm. And I think there are teams for sure that mimic that aren't sports-based, but there's just something about competition and winning together and losing together and going through it together that binds people in a way that is unique. For sure. Agree? Anything to add to some of those pieces of why those relationships in sports just seem to stand out?
I think you kind of hit it right on the nose. I mean, and a lot of people know it's not easy being in college sports and really any sports. It's hard work and between weights and conditioning and practicing and even games and then
individuals and
then when you're on the road Friday, Saturday, you get Domino's at night, and then you wake up, you get hotel breakfast, and then you're at shoot around, and then you know how it works. And when you're with these guys during all these hard times, he's going through the same thing I am, and he wants to win as badly as I do, and we're doing this for each other. Then you just that just builds on itself, as the season goes on. Like every hardship you have, it's like, well, my teammate's right here with me, so obviously he cares just as much as I do, and that's awesome because if I care a lot, then I know he must care a lot. So you just kind of, it's mutual between each other. So I think that you have a lot of respect for each other, and then if you have the same interests, you're friends with each other, and then you hang out outside of it, and it just builds and builds and builds.
It's funny how you don't know it yet, but once this is all said and done, you're going to look back on these days and these friendships, and these are, I've talked to lots of alums. These are people who are going to be in your wedding. I had teammates in my wedding. It's going to be people you keep in touch with, especially around the program. So we were just down in Sioux Falls, and one of my teammates, Blake Strouth, was down there, lives in Sioux Falls, and came over to the game against Upper Iowa with his family. And we all kind of still keep tabs on how the program is doing and get together and talk about it and go to games together. And, it's the next chapter after. Enjoy the hell out of the one you're on, because it's a
fun one.
It's a blast. And the fact that you get to live with that every day in your home and get a little bit of the outside perspective with Isaac, who kind of sees it as that fun, creative oddball that he is. It's just a wonderful time, and sports is, as we know, a wonderful place to develop lifelong relationships and it's fun to watch you do that on the court, off the court, and not too long off the on your own. So thank you for letting us be a part of that journey and joining us today on the MSUM Dragons podcast.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.